welcome back to Open. So, in the beginning of this pandemic, everyone was forced to deal with the sudden changes that included quarantine. We're still in quarantine. Many people meditated and participated in yoga, and many artists rely on their craft to provide solace. So our next guest decided to create a zine that showcases the pandemic through the artist's eye. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome the curator of With Space Between Us, Kasey-Lynn Kasinator Rodriguez. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. I wanted to open up with your status, right? And your status being that of new mom.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you are recently a new mom, and what the impact of these conditions has had on your new circumstances, right? Because you still have an infant, right? You have an infant.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
He's 11 months.
Oh, so okay, so he's 11 months.
So he's just hitting a year. Yeah.
So when this first hit, what was that like for you?
Well, he was about 5 months, going on 6 months. So he wasn't. He obviously has no idea what was going on. So it was very hard to now transition into, does he go outside? Do we stay inside? If I need to go somewhere, what happens? So it was a lot of uncertainty going on and a lot of things that were just up in the air. It was very scary in the beginning of not really knowing what was going on or what really to do. So it was very difficult. It was like everything was kind of going back into a routine before then. And then all of a sudden when the pandemic hit, then it was kind of like everything got shut down and everything at home is totally different. You know what I mean? So it was really hard dealing with a brand new baby during that time.
Well, yeah, I would imagine so, schedule-wise. And then on top of that, I don't know if you suffered severely from postpartum, but that is part of the whole post-pregnancy aspect. And so having to deal with this surreal, unrealistic circumstance, and then bringing new life into the world and having to deal with your body changing simultaneously, that's a lot. And so I'm assuming you found solace in the work that you do.
Yeah, I definitely did. Honestly, postpartum was really hurting me during this time. It was something that I didn't imagine would happen along with the pandemic. So it was kind of like extra, just getting piled on and piled on. So it was like very overwhelming and a lot kind of happening at one time. So making the open call after in order to kind of go out a little bit, I was bringing my camera along, strapping the baby on me kind of thing, protecting us both. And then I was just kind of like taking pictures. So after that, I wanted to see if other people were kind of in the art mindset during this time. So I put out an open call, just hoping that even a few friends or people that I knew would like submit, and it turned into something really big, which is really cool.
Right. Well, definitely you're capsulizing this particular time period. And so I noticed that we have an image of you with the baby and you're both wearing masks. So if you're the photographer, how was that photo captured?
Well, I art directed it in that sense. But I had one of my friends take the photos of us outside, with distance, of course, you know, but it was in the very beginning. So that was probably the end of March, early April. So I was bringing the baby out in a mask. It was a little big for him and things like that, but I had him in the carrier on me all the time. So I felt like he'd be a little bit more protected than me having him kind of facing outward into the public and things like that. So when I was starting to do that, I was like, I don't have a picture of myself and kind of what's going on. So I art directed my friend to do that.
Right. So that's a part of your own history that you're creating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally makes sense. And so you had been right that you put you did an outreach, right? You put out an open call online, and now what you've created is pretty much global because we're all dealing with this in the same way, rather in different places, but we're all going through it together.
Yeah, definitely. So, what I kind of did was, I mean, I didn't even think that this would happen, but I put it out on Instagram. So I sponsored the post. And Instagram, when you do that, kind of asks you like, where do you, where do you see your target audience? And my target audience was throughout the United States. I didn't even think that it would be seen uh, globally the way that it was. So we have people from Austria and Turkey and the UK. So there's a bunch of different people who are also dealing with the same exact thing, and their lockdown was a little bit harsher than ours too, where nobody could really go out, uh, and a bunch of other things that were going on. So it was kind of like, wow, like there's totally different spectrums going on with our stay-at-home orders or our quarantines and stuff like that. So it was really cool to get people, when I asked them like, where are you from, they were telling me, well, I'm from Europe, or I'm over here, and things like that. So it was cool to have them reach out with work.
So walk us through some of the images that we have and what compelled you to curate in the manner that you did.
Well, this is my first time curating something. I normally make my own zines with my own work. So me kind of putting that out there, I didn't know if I wanted to put it out digitally because it would be kind of hard. I didn't know also if printing presses would be open or anything in that sense. So the idea to make it into a physical book kind of came later, where I just wanted to collect these stories. And then when people would ask me like, oh, when's the deadline? I was like, well, COVID is still kind of happening. So there's really no deadline right now. So I had people even submitting up until like June and things like that, which really worked out well. So curating this, I had friends reach out to me also. So there's a lot of Bronx and local artists. I also had like friends of friends. So if someone wasn't submitting, they told someone else and they submitted. So it was a lot of word of mouth, which was really good.
So
And
how
I
many
think,
are featured altogether?
yeah, 35 artists are featured. And I think that,
Nice.
well, 34, including myself. So there's, when it just started growing, I just kind of like let it turn into what it was, which is cool.
And I understand that the
Yeah.
youngest contributor is your brother.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up now. So my brother is 12. His name is Angel, and he wrote a poem for school. And the first time I read the poem, I like wept, like tears were streaming, because for him to have gone from, I literally picked him up on the last day of his school, and then they said school is closing. Like the fact that he didn't say bye to friends, it was very, it's like a very traumatic time for all of us. And the fact that he expressed himself in this way was something that I was like, wow. After I read it, I said, do you want to submit to my zine? And he was like, oh, okay, like not even realizing how big this would be either. And
Especially
that's how he, yeah.
generation. A generation, they're absorbing it in a different manner. I mean, we as adults, we process differently. So that's lovely that you were able to provide him with an outlet, and not only provide him with an outlet, it be documented, because this is going to be, it's going to hold historical value, what you
Yeah.
created. It
Yeah.
really.
And that's something that I think, having it in this time and having it during this time period exactly is like super important, because these are all the feelings, the thoughts, the ideas of a bunch of different people during this one time, that it's not like one person's just dealing with it. It was all of us. So manifesting this into a physical thing, which, you know, COVID has turned into a physical thing itself, I think resonates together, of having it an actual zine, as opposed to just kind of letting it sit there, or, you know, do what it may kind of thing.
You have it in your hand. Can I see it?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Beautiful. All right. So before we go, because I know that you are also passing this forward. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that while you created this physical zine and it is for sale, that the idea is that you continue to move the energy forward and extend it to certain organizations. Can you just share the details of where the funds are going?
Yes. So the book is $25. You order it through Blurb, and where it would go is to, I'm trying to split the funds between the Black Artist Fund, which helps Black and Brown art students specifically continue their ongoing projects. And then the other would be to a COVID relief fund. I haven't figured out which one exactly yet, but I want to give back to one that helps, especially in the Bronx, at least, for a lot of people like myself and others who were affected by the coronavirus.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for being so conscious in your efforts to just really send out healing energy, because that's what we're doing. We're all healing together. Thank you for being with us, Kasey.
Thank you.
Kasinator Rodriguez. And you guys, once again, for with Space Between Us, the zine that is, it's available for purchase on blurb.com. And once again, all the proceeds are going to be donated to a COVID relief fund and the Black Artists Fund. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear the latest on the Sisa project. Don't go anywhere.